If you scroll down to the very bottom of my YouTube page, you will see that the very first video is the Halo Infinite world premiere live reaction. Now, this channel is not dedicated to Halo specifically, or really any other video game for that matter, but we do talk a lot about PC gaming and PC tech, and Halo Infinite will be available on the PC day one, free to play, and I was actually able to already try it out on my PC. Before that, if you're new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button and becoming part of the E-Rock on Deck community. So today we're talking about Halo Infinite. Wait, hang on.
Slayer.
Okay, that's more like it. Now we're talking about Halo Infinite. So I was one of the lucky people that actually got selected to participate in the first not beta test flight of Halo Infinite this past weekend. Basically what this means is that they have taken a very specific portion of the game and they have allowed users to access only that portion of the game and to test it out in its entirety. The idea behind this is that they can fine-tune every single part of the game so that when Halo Infinite releases this holiday season, it won't end up like Master Chief Collection. I mean, it will be a perfectly smooth and flawless launch without any matchmaking issues. So we were mostly limited to only playing on 2 maps, and we couldn't even play real PvP Slayer. We were only playing against AI robots. Now later on, towards the end of the testing for the weekend, they actually opened up PvP for about 2 hours. Unfortunately, I missed it. By the time I found out about it, the 2-hour window was already over. But of course, I hopped on YouTube and I watched other people play the PvP mode, and I can honestly say it is already a massive improvement over the AI bot Slayer that we were getting all weekend long. The first 2 maps were called Recharge and Live Fire. Now, unfortunately, just like the PvP mode, I did not get to play the Bazaar map, so I can't really talk about that too much. I did look at other people play on the map, and I can honestly say it does look quite awesome, but I did get to play a lot of Recharge and Live Fire. Now, of the 2 maps that I did get to play, Recharge was definitely my favorite map. Recharge is a multi-level indoor facility with weapons on all walls and every corner. It has a very unique design, so much in fact that the gravity hammer actually spawns in front of a waterfall on a ramp that's not even connected to the rest of the map. You have to actually jump over to get it, and I think that's honestly very cool and very creative. Live Fire is supposed to be a Spartan training facility, and honestly, it's not a terrible map, but also it's not anything to really write home about. It's a nice outdoor area, it runs in a circle, you can go underground, and that's honestly about it. There was nothing too memorable for the map that stood out to me personally. Now here's the question that really matters to all of my viewers. How does Halo Infinite run on PC? So the first thing you have to be aware of is that there are no day one game ready drivers for this game. So you're talking about raw horsepower when it comes to actually running Halo Infinite on the PC. Now initially, for whatever reason, I was actually getting screen tearing and my frame rate kept falling below 60 FPS. I kept playing around with the settings, and at first it didn't really seem to matter what settings I was actually using. From ultra to high and turning off other settings, it didn't really seem to impact the frame rate at all. But it turns out they have a slider on there called the FPS limiter, and it definitely seems to be broken. Even though the FPS limiter was set higher than 60 FPS, it was still running my game below 60 frames per second. But as I continued to move the FPS limiter all the way up to its maximum value, my frame rate slowly but surely started to improve. And once I turned off motion blur and I actually increased the frame rate limiter and I turned on VSync, my screen tearing also went away. Now for me, I have an RTX 3070 Founders Edition GPU, and it's paired with an AMD Ryzen 5800X CPU. So I knew that hardware would not be the limiting factor here. But what I noticed was that even at 1440p with ultra settings, my GPU utilization was actually very low. I'm talking 40 to 50% low. So this screams that the game is not yet optimized and that a day one driver will definitely be needed. Now let's quickly talk about all the things that I like and dislike. So let's start off with the positive. What do I like about the game? Well, honestly, I actually like the pacing of the game. It feels very balanced. It's not too fast, it's not too slow, it's not too sluggish. It actually feels right on point, even even with sprinting around the map, it actually feels perfectly balanced, in my opinion. You now have a personal AI assistant. It actually kind of reminds me of the Ghost from Destiny, so I think that's pretty cool. And so when you're on the battlefield, your assistant will actually talk to you and tell you different things like where weapons will spawn and what the score is and things of that nature. It does honestly feel like an extension of the Master Chief Spartan armor, so I'm a pretty big fan of the personal AI assistant. The graphics are okay, there's still nothing to write home about, but they are a massive improvement over what we saw 1 year ago at the Halo Infinite world premiere. I could be wrong, but it feels like the time to kill has actually been lowered. I'll try to get some footage on the screen to help show what I'm talking about, but I felt like it was easier to kill and also be killed when compared to other traditional Halo titles. Another aspect I like is that while Halo 5 seemed to have too many armor abilities, I feel like Halo Infinite has just the right amount. They were able to take out certain abilities like a shoulder charge or the ground slam effect, but keep other abilities like clambering and sliding and sprinting, and now it feels way more balanced and fine-tuned. And this allowed for them to add other armor pickups on the map like the grappling hook, which now is a limited use item while on the battlefield and not necessarily a built-in armor ability. Now I want to talk about my absolute favorite part of this game, the battle rifle. I was gonna say BR, but everybody would think I'm talking about Battle Royale, and oh my goodness, please not another Battle Royale. I love everything about this battle rifle. I love the way it looks, I love the way it sounds, I love the way it feels. Out of every battle rifle I've ever used in every Halo game, this is by far the best feeling battle rifle I have ever touched. The built-in hit detection and hit markers make it so much easier to actually see how you're performing on the battlefield. I'm a huge fan of the battle rifle. And now that's gonna be the perfect segue into talking about all the things that I don't like about the game so far. I don't like the way that they are treating the battle rifle. In Halo Combat Evolved, the battle rifle did not exist. But in Halo 2, the battle rifle came into existence. And then from Halo 2 to Halo 3, you were actually able to play dedicated game types that had BR start or battle rifle start. And then in Halo Reach, they got rid of the battle rifle and then they brought in the DMR, the designated marksman rifle, and you can actually set it as a default loadout in the new class system. And then in Halo 4, the battle rifle came back and you could also make it your default starting weapon with the loadout or class system. But with Halo 5, I saw something I never thought I would see in a million years. They took the battle rifle and they basically put it on the bench. They essentially wanted you to start every game with an assault rifle and a pistol and then run around the map until you found a battle rifle. And unfortunately with Halo Infinite, I'm starting to see the same trend. Every single match is fought with an assault rifle and a pistol, and you have to circle around the map until you find a battle rifle. This brings me to my next point, which is rotating weapons. Each map, the weapons on the map are rotating in and out. The maps are exactly the same, the game type is exactly the same, but for whatever reason, one match will have a battle rifle hanging on the wall, and the very next match it will have one of the new weapon variants, and it will take the place of the battle rifle. And what that means is that for that match, there are no battle rifles. And it's not just the battle rifle this is happening to, it's happening to other weapons as well. I don't know if it's just part of the flight that they're doing and maybe they're trying to figure out which weapons work best on which map, or if this is actually going to be a permanent feature in the game when it comes out. So the last point I want to talk about is hand holding. I understand that the game is now going free to play, and so now they're going to have way more players than they've ever had before. But what this also means is that a lot of new players will be coming into the franchise for the first time ever, and that means they're not going to have any idea what's going on. So now they have the Spartan Academy, they have the Bot Slayer against AI robots, and then in addition to all of that, they now have your AI personal assistant literally telling you everything that's happening on the map at any given point in time. They're doing everything they can to make this as easy as possible for new players. I know personally, I'm not really gonna use the Spartan Academy in the final product of the game. I know I'm never gonna go in the Bot Slayer. Well, not unless there's an achievement for it or something like that. I'm gonna go straight to PvP and I'm going to play competitive. And I understand a lot of people are not like that, and that's totally fine. But what happens when a new player now becomes a seasoned player? You now still have all of these features that are catered around to hand holding. And honestly, for me, it's a little bit too much and I want to see them dial that back just a little bit. But outside of that, my complaints are very few and minimum. And overall, I thoroughly enjoyed my experience playing the Halo Infinite Test Flight number 1. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button. It goes a long way in helping me out. And let me know in the comments below. Are you excited for Halo Infinite? Why or why not? I look forward to reading all of your responses. And until next time, you rock out.